Good afternoon and welcome to Healthy Lifestyle. I am Lorianne Casdia, and our goal, as you know if you've been listening at Healthy Lifestyle, is to inspire, educate, and empower others to fulfilling a healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so that you can feel empowered to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. I truly believe we are here to serve one another, and that is why I want you all to listen every week and get all these inspiring opportunities in front of you. I'm excited today because I have one of my friends here. His name is Paul Saladino, and he is an intuitive. We'll talk about what that is, because to some it means one thing and to others it means something else. We're gonna get clarity on that, as well as speak about his group called the Soul Brothers, and also an event that's coming up October 27th. I'm going to give you information on how you can find out more about it, but we're going to talk to Paul about that. Paul, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Lorianne. It's a pleasure being here.
It's good. I need you to move your mic in, babe.
Sure.
There you go. I'm so happy that you're here. I really am. So why don't we start with what's an intuitive? Because I know you as that.
Throughout my career, people have labeled me as a psychic medium. And although I find it to be close to what I do, in all of that is somebody who uses their intuition. And so I have learned to train my intuition, which we all have. We've all been born with one. Some meant to use it more than others. And over the years of taking classes and going within, meditation, and teaching, I have learned to train mine to almost fine-tune it. So I prefer the label of intuitive. It's somebody who uses their intuition to help the well-being of others and change in the world.
Well, I know from firsthand experience, your intuition is spot on. It's like amazing.
Thank you.
You pulled out things that I was like, there is no way, unless you were in the room, and I know you weren't in the room, that you would know that. So yeah, you're good. You're very good. So with intuition, you had said something that I thought was very interesting. It's in every single one of us. What led you to make this your career?
To believe it or not, I actually fought it for many years. It was something that was so strong as a child, actually more of a burden than it was a gift or a benefit. I happened to know things that other people didn't see clearly or didn't understand. And throughout my young childhood, I kind of just tried to bury it, and it just kept coming back. It was something that it was undeniable, and I tried my darndest to just not pay attention to it. But it became so strong in my early 20s that I was at an event with a very well-known psychic, somebody who claims to be a psychic, and he picked me out of the audience of 1,000 people.
Wow.
And he asked me to spend a few minutes with him after the seminar was over. And he said to me, you have a very strong intuition. I can tell this is your gift. Are you working with it? And I said, no, I've actually been denying it. And he said, well, I suggest that you follow me. Maybe spend some time with me and come to some of my events, which I did. And then I wound up going to a school called Pathways to Health in Mount Sinai. And I started to train with them, learning about intuition, what it truly was and how to connect to it and to trust it, how to protect yourself by using it.
Yeah.
And as I said before, we all have it, but some are meant to use it more than others. And I then spent a good 5 or 6 years in training, taking classes, getting certifications, and researching and fine-tuning it.
That's so interesting. I just, now, does it run in your family?
There was rumors that my grandmother on my father's side was. My brother, I have a brother who I believe is extremely intuitive, although we handle it differently. We look at it differently. And my mother, in her later years, after my father had passed, I believe intuition strengthens with an open heart. And when my father passed, my mother had no other choice, since they had known each other since they were 12.
Wow.
The devastation of losing my father made my mom go within. And that's what I believe trained her intuition. And she came out with some pretty interesting stuff, as well as being able to see spirits in her last 2 years.
Now, what version do you have? Because there's different intuitions, as I understand it. So, what's your gift? So, some people are auditory, some people are.
So that's the clairsentience, clairaudient, and clair.
You allowed to talk to me like that, Paul? Say that again.
Clairvoyant,
yes,
clairsentient, and clairaudient. Those are the 3 gifts of intuition and of people who use this. Clairaudient is when you can hear. You can hear it, obviously, within your soul. You hear the spirits, which I am. Clairsentient is that you can sense the spirits. You can sense the intuition. And then clairvoyant is when you see them, which I don't do, and I'm very happy I don't. I could see within my mind's eye, but I don't see them as if they're standing in the room.
Gotcha.
And I'm speaking of spirit, which is a strong connection to intuition as well. So my mom turns out to be, I believe she was a medium, which I am as well. I found that out after training my intuition. After training my intuition, I went within and did work, obviously, with people, and then started to hear voices on the right side of my head. And it came in so quickly at a very devastating part of my life. There was a very bad experience with a relationship, and I was at a point where I wanted to throw in the towel. I just didn't want to do this any longer. And I knew what I had known since I was a child that I blocked out. I saw what I was unfolding and starting to nurture, but at this moment, it became so clear. I asked of God, please help me at this moment. If there's something that I am meant to do, if this is my purpose in life, then please let me see clarity through this. And instantaneously on the right side of my head, I started to hear a voice that said, you will teach others through your pain. You will help through the experiences that you've gone through. And at that moment, I realized, well, is this me saying this? Is this?
Yeah, hard to distinguish, right?
It's very difficult. And, you go through this little stage of, am I going crazy? Am I hearing voices?
Yeah.
And then as I embraced it more, very fortunate to have some people that helped me through that, it started to unfold even more. And to now where I can hear those who've passed on.
Now, for our listeners who don't know, what is a medium?
A medium is someone, it's pretty simple actually. We as humans are on the lowest form of existence. We are in the lowest vibration of existence. And those in spirit are actually in the highest. They're of a vibration, a high frequency vibration. They're no longer in physical form. A medium is someone who meets them in the middle. And that's why they call them medium. So the spirits will come down a little bit into human form, and us as mediums will go up a little bit. And we meet them right in the middle so that we can communicate with them.
And why do they come down?
Because we wouldn't be able to, as humans, to be able to understand their frequency. They're so high vibrational. They're of a complete energy that humans can't even comprehend.
Are they bringing messages? Are they trying to give guidance? Because I know I get guidance, and I'll ask. I'll just throw it out there and say whatever my question is, and I always get an answer. Yeah. Be it if I hear something, or I will see something, or I'll turn on the radio and it'll be just those words right there, and I'm like, stop it. And when you it sounds nuts if it hasn't happened to you, but if you pay attention and you're aware, it's constant, constant intake, and it's actually fun.
They are consistently trying to get through to us, and a lot of us won't pay attention to it. We'll kind of be so busy in our world and in our head that oftentimes we'll get ringing in our ears. And the ringing in the ears is the high frequency that they're trying to get through to us to give us a message, but we're not paying attention. So a lot of people don't realize that when you're getting that high frequency vibration and they're sitting there saying, hey, pay attention to this, your ears will start ringing as a message from them.
Right.
Then you have to decipher whether it's a good message or a bad message.
Right.
Well, depending on what you're thinking about or doing.
So this is new for me too. So I was trying to discern between my inner voice and this other voice, and I find that my voice is the one on the left-hand side, and other voices are the one on the right-hand side, and it actually feels like that for me. So it really is interesting. And I'm like, well, how do I know that that's not me putting that in there? And you just know the difference. There's just feeling, and you just go with it. There's a lot of trust involved in this.
Besides, it's interesting that you should mention the left and the right. The left of our existence is our physical side. The right is the spiritual. So oftentimes many intuitives or psychics or mediums will hear to the right of them. So that's the spiritual ear. That's mostly where we hear on that side. most. So that's something that could help you understand that you could be hearing other people. Now, I'm sure that there are people who conjure up in their head, but you'll learn in time to distinguish between voices, a female voice, a younger person's voice. So you'll be able to train it as anything else. With more you do it, the better you'll become at it.
It's a practice, right? It is
yes.
a practice. It's amazing. Now, you do other things. You do energy healings, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So help us understand what energy healings are.
Well, I'm a Reiki master, and also I've trained in something called Anra.
What's that?
Anra is a little different. It's actually, they both have the same basis of using the energy from the universe through filtering through our humanity, our heart, through our hands to heal. There's been many studies out there that the energy of touch, the healing from touch, is greater than any medicine that we could ever take. It has done wonders. In fact, Reiki is becoming so recognized throughout the world right now, and it's actually being accepted as an alternative way of healing in hospitals right now, which is amazing. Insurance companies will be starting to take on this because there is such proof that through this energy of love, through the universal energy, that we can heal just by intention and clarity and love passed through our hands, that we can actually do that. And I work with cancer patients, I work with people with addictions, I work with depressed people, or people who have had trauma in their life where their energies are blocked and creating health problems.
Yeah, definitely our energy, where our mindset is. I'm big about mindset in the business that I do. And that just could block everything. And you set that free, and it is amazing what you can accomplish. And 100%. Everything that my mom and dad told me when I was growing up is you could do anything if you put your mind to it is true. You can't just sit there and go, okay, put my mind to it, I'm going to do blah, blah, and then don't do that. There has to be action to back it up.
100%.
But you absolutely have to have the mindset that this is what you want to do, this is how you're going to do it, and move forward. It's a very positive thing. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lorianne Casdia, and we are speaking with Paul Saladino, our intuitive, who's in the studios with us today, and we are speaking about healing energies. And let's talk about Soul Brothers. I love this, and I have met many of them. Tell us about your group.
It was a vision I had about 5 years ago when my roommate at the time was going through a very tough time and part of a men's group that was claiming to be spiritual. And as I heard about the group, I found that myself being a spiritualist and living a spiritual lifestyle, that this group wasn't at all spiritual. That it was more of trying to conform people into their belief system. So it kind of encouraged me to sit back and think, a lot of my clients and this person, men especially, had so much emotional blockage and so much fear of being vulnerable. And so I decided to create a spiritual group called the Soul Brothers, giving men a safe place to come and experience feelings and emotions with no judgment, to be able to go deep and leave themselves vulnerable and have the support that they need and grow, and to also learn through spirituality. The understanding that we're not just humans. We're great souls that are far greater than our human allows us to be.
You have some really good stories from this. Can you tell us one of them? I know in a seminar that I went to last year, you were telling some of these stories about how they've gone through transitions. I think it's really important about, just to circle back for a second, you had said that your housemate was going to this group and they were trying to make you conform. And I found in spirituality, that is the farthest thing that one does. You actually look for that independence. And I am sure you've heard me say this before on the radio, which is, be you because everybody else is taken and you're the best you anyway. And that's really what spirituality is just digging in, because we come here fully contained with everything that we need. We just have to unpack it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we stop unpacking, we start listening to external. So that's what I love about the Soul Brothers, is that you really give them a place to have that unpacking of all these things. And so I remember, and I saw your face, you were like, geez, I don't know which story you're thinking of. I remember some stories that you were telling about some of the guys who've gone through some things. They've had bad marriages, bad experience, and now they're someplace else and they've opened up and their vibration is a lot higher.
There's many stories.
Yes.
We meet once a month and we'll pick a specific topic. to speak about. And fortunately, I have some other members in the group that are highly evolved spiritual men who help me to teach. But we have seen men go from a place of complete destruction to complete empowerment. I have seen we have men who are drug addicted. We have men who have lost children in desperate places where now they honor their child and their child's life by going out and changing lives. And we try to transition these men into a place of safety with their feelings. And men are taught as young children to be strong, and to be capable, to
keep
not
everything
open up.
in.
Yes, to be the one who is looked upon as the strong person. And there's greater strength and weakness when most of us don't know that.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Yes. There is strength in showing human, and there is strength in weakness. And I love that element. And that's what I see about your soul brothers is there's a kindness there. There's a natural kindness there. And it's, to me, looking from the outside in, about a year ago, I was like, wow, these guys are so humble and they've been through so much. And I looked at it as hope, and that was very inspirational to me, not because of gender, but because I saw that they've forgiven themselves. And that's what we do. We all make mistakes. We all have things in our past that we sit there and go, eesh, I probably shouldn't have done that. But if we learn from it and we get better from it, and then we share, if that's possible, to help people maybe avoid that bump. Because I know as a parent, I do that with my boys. It's like, well, this is what I went through. If you're going to choose to go through it, I'll be here to support you. But if you want to avoid it, here's what I did. Mm-hmm. If that helps, not always. They, yep, it's hot. Okay, I told you it was hot, but all right, go ahead, you could do that. But the lesson in it, I thought that was the greatest thing with the Soul Brothers, is I saw that they forgave themselves of some of the mistakes that they had made, missteps that they had made, but they learned from it.
Yes. And
become bigger and better because of it.
One of the things that we do is 4 times a year we'll do a charity event, including all of the men. Do something to give back to the environment or to our society in hopes of changing other people's lives. And we did a trip into Manhattan not too long ago we gathered a bunch of items and made backpacks full of survival stuff for the homeless. And it was in the midst of winter, and we've got hats and gloves and food and gift cards, and we raised so much that we were able to make 250 backpacks. And we went in, we rented a bus, and all of us went into the city. And it was funny because we divide ourselves into small groups of 4, and then we spread throughout Manhattan. And this one particular, we pick out of a hat.
Like ants at a picnic.
Yes. Yes, the Soul Brothers ants. And there was 4 men in the group that I believe had the most struggle going on in their life. And I thought, wow, I hope that they find somebody in their small group that can guide them and lead them. But it turned out that all 4 were in the same group.
Oh,
they
wow.
picked each other, which is funny because it was destiny. But to make a long story short, they were sort of the non-believers, not as believing as all of the other men. And it turns out that they met an angel. They wound up walking up to the whole idea was to sit with these people, not to just hand them a bag of stuff and run. Mm-hmm. Sit and learn, talk to them, hear them, express what your feelings are and hear what they have to say. And they walked up to a woman who had been surrounded with a lot of bags, and she had her whole face was covered except her eyes and her mouth and her nose. She had a big something wrapped around her. I wasn't there. But they said as they walked up, she said, hi, they said, we have a gift for you. Would you like to have a bag full of supplies here for you? And she said, what I would like is the prayer card. And they said, how did you know that there was a prayer card in there? And she said, I've been waiting for you.
Wow. And
they said, well, okay. And they said, well, we have a whole bunch of other items. And she said, no, I just would like the prayer card. And so as they started to take that out, one of the gentlemen asked her, he said, where are you from? And she said, heaven. And they said, they jokingly said, come on, really? And she said, no, heaven. She said, can I have the prayer card because I'm going to pray for you?
Oh, wow.
And they wound up having this very emotional feeling amongst the 4 of them. And after the little conversation was over, they walked maybe 30 or 40 feet, and they said, let's go back because we want to give her something else. And she was gone. Wow. Everything that she had was disappeared. Wow. And it changed these men's view of that there is definitely something beyond this. And all 4 of those men are now probably the most significantly spiritual men in the group.
Wow. I would understand that. That's just amazing. Actually, I have a similar story that I went through when we come back for the second half hour, I definitely want to circle back to it because it's similar, not as deep, though. That was just totally amazing. But you'll stay with us, right,
Yes,
Paul?
absolutely.
Excellent. Well, we will be back for the second half of the show. Paul is staying with us. You are listening to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lorianne Casdia here with Paul Saladino, our intuitive, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lorianne Casdia. And if you have any questions, comments, or ideas on topics you'd like to hear more about, please email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. And of course, follow us on social media at Healthy Lifestyle with LA. We are here with Paul Saladino. He is our intuitive, and we are speaking about energy healings and grieving counseling and our soul brothers, and we want to circle back to that, right, Paul?
Sure.
So you had just told us, shared with us a story about the soul brothers going into the city, and I wanted to share it really quick. It's not as good as yours, but it was very touching to me. I was on the beach. It was Davis Park over on Fire Island, and I was walking along the beach with a friend of mine, and I saw this person in the distance, and they were walking towards us. And as they were walking towards us, I kept like squinting and kind of shaking my head as if to get clarity. But he looked just like my dad. My dad passed away about 5 years ago. And it looked just like my dad. Had the goatee, had a hat, just like the hat that in the picture that I have sitting on my desk in my office at my house. And it was just amazing. And there was this calmness that washed over me as he got closer. He looked at me, gave me that dad dazzle smile, and he just kind of nodded his head like everything is good. And he walked by me, and I was just like, that was so weird. That looked just like my dad. And as I'm having that conversation, I thought, yeah, let me just turn around. And I turned around and he was gone. It was a beach. There's no place to go. I looked in the water to see, did he go running into the water? I heard no splashing. Gone. Absolutely gone. And I was just like, I don't know what that was. It was really cool. I love that calm feeling I felt. Sure. It just washed over me like everything is going to be okay. And you know what? Everything has been okay. So it was amazing.
Those are called interventions. And we experience them often, but most people don't pay attention. Again, they don't pay attention to them because they're in their head. But if you do in that moment, in that experience, try to pay attention, there will be no evidence of it. It's given to us to give us a sign or a moment of clarity or a message of love, and then it disappears.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's such a beautiful feeling. Yeah. I look for it now. I'm like, anybody? Come on. Come on in. So if someone wanted to join the Soul Brothers, can they just join it?
Sure.
How did they do that?
Well, we started out with 8 original members, which I thought was pretty big in itself. And we meet once a month, and it has grown into 72 men. Oh,
for goodness sakes. All at the same time? You guys gather at the same time?
We meet at a wonderful place in Smithtown, New York. It's called the Holistic Center for Soulful Living.
Oh, okay, sure.
And we meet there from 7 to 9 on the third Monday of every month. Anyone is welcome. It does not cost anything. It's free.
Like you.
Yeah, I don't think that guidance or healing should cost. And I do that as well with my healings. I don't charge for my healings.
Wow.
Healing should come from the heart, in my opinion, and I'm not judging anybody who believes it should be a business, and I do believe it is a business.
Yes.
But in my feelings, I believe that love heals, and love shouldn't cost anything, although it does at times. I rather and prefer to, especially men, because they're very analytical and they're skeptics, especially when it comes to emotions. And if you tell them you're charging for it, they're going to think it's a business.
Right.
So when they know it's free and it's just all embracing, that they seem to gather. And I thought over the years we'd lose people. We just keep getting more and more, but more the merrier. Actually, yeah, we're embracing more men every month. So they can call my office number,
And your office number is 631-588-4340, yes?
Yes.
So slower this time, Lorianne. 631-588-4340. I had my New York on where I was like, boom. And call up, and Paul, you'll get that information to them, and they can come join you in Smithtown. And I love that because more and more men are kind of getting involved very quietly. And I have a Kundalini class that I go to, and there's this one man in it, and all the women love that he's in there, not for the obvious reasons, but when we start chanting, the bass is really nice. It just like goes right through you, and we're like, we need more men in the class. So there's more chanting at that level because it sounds very monkish, monkish. Is that a word? I don't know. No offense to anyone. Oh, for God's sakes. It's just a beautiful feeling, and with all the different levels of voice. I'm a singer, so I love that angelic feel. Sure. It's so wild how all the voices become one, and everything starts to vibrate at that same level. It is so interesting and so cool, and I love every minute of it. And that's why the spiritual awakening and the men coming in getting that spiritual awakening, that's why they have that humble. They see what they've been through, they accept what they've been through, and they accept everybody else because they see, we're human, we have flaws, and that's the greatest expression of acknowledging your own flaws,
100%. And what I'd like to clarify quickly is most men will hear the word spiritual and they'll connect it to religion. It's not a religious-based group at all. No. It's spirituality is a higher vibration, a greater understanding, a higher consciousness of life. It has nothing to do with religion at all. So I don't want anyone to think that it's a religious group. It's more of a support group. Right. And like I said, and as we support, we give back.
Right.
That's the whole intention behind the group.
And so, people see religion and spiritual as separate. They can be separate or they can be mixed together. Some people refer to their God. Some people refer to their higher power. Yes. Some people refer to it as a universe. My son laughs at me when I do. I'm like, you keep laughing, but I keep seeing you doing it. So I whatever works for you, and that's the best thing about spiritualism. Yes. It's what works for you. What works for me is one thing. What works for you, Paul, is maybe similar, but there's differences. So it's whatever works for you. And I keep reaching and learning, and the more I learn, the more I want to learn about different methodologies and seeing what works best and fits nice. It's like finding the right glove for winter. And I hate to say that because it's coming. I'm not a fan of the cold.
Me neither.
No. It makes me sad when it's cold out, but that's okay. There's goodness in that as well. So we spoke about the Soul Brothers, and I know that there's a gentleman who is very inspirational to you. His name is Wayne.
Yes.
Wayne Dyer, right?
Wayne Dyer.
Dyer.
Yes.
Talk about that. How you connected with him.
Basically, it was one of the greatest books I've ever read. He has written, unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. I had been to a number of his workshops in Manhattan. He had done weekends called You Can Do It, which inspired me to do what I do now with these upcoming events that I have, these seminars. But he was a gentleman who spoke from a place of humility. He was a person who taught from his brokenness and his faults. And I truly believe that the greatest teachers in life are the ones who failed the most, because we teach from failure.
Yes. The best teachers are teaching from experience and failure because you 100%. Can connect with that.
Right.
It's like, oh, you've walked the walk. Yeah, I did that dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to show you how you get out of the dumb stuff.
Yeah, well, he speaks of that in a lot of his books. And one of the greatest books I ever read was The Power of Intention that he wrote. And it's you can get it on video, you can watch it on YouTube, and you can obviously read the book. But he influenced me in so many ways because although he was a spiritual gentleman, he wasn't too far into it and didn't do all the intuitive works that I did, but he gave me a grounding and a foundation that I could build off of, along with Gary Zukav. And,
yes. Gary was at last year's event.
He was my last year's speaker, yes.
Fantastic. That was like earth-shattering.
Yes.
Yeah, so were you. You were amazing. I've never seen somebody like sweat and pace so much. You were like pacing and sweating, and I was like, you're always so calm and together, and I was like, I'm seeing you lose your mind right now. What is going on? And then you went on, and it was like, poof. You were in your element. When you got up there, you just had everybody in the palm of your hands and shared so much and was so inspiring and got a standing ovation, you crazy nuts.
Thank you.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah, and it is a lot to handle in that one experience. I mean, you're dealing with speakers, and we had children last year with cancer that we granted wishes for, and I was trying to coordinate that and trying to make everything so perfect. It's the I don't know. I'm always looking and striving for better, and I put too much pressure on myself. So I guess at that moment I was a little frantic, but as it unfolded and I spoke, I tried to speak from my heart, and when you're in your heart energy, everything else just melts away.
You did speak from your heart. And I will say that's my observation because I'm trained as a marketer to observe people and really. So, of course, most people probably didn't notice that in you, but I just knew it was so opposite of what you normally are. And yeah, that was beautiful what you did. I mean, you really touched those families and everybody in that room, and it inspired all of us to do some good stuff for other people. And again, we're here to serve others, and you show that every day in what you do. And that was definitely an act that was completely overt, and I mean, we just cried and we laughed and we had a good time, and you walk away inspired, knowing that as individuals we can change the world every day by just little small acts that we choose to do. So let's talk about your event. It's the Spiritual Awareness Seminar and Charity event. It's always a charity event when you're involved. I know that. So let's talk about it. It's October 27th, right?
Yes.
10:30 to 4?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great event.
Well, let me just go back a moment. The reason these things came about, because I was very, very, very fearful of speaking in front of people. In school, I would take a 0 before I would ever stand in front of a class. I would avoid going to class if I knew I had to stand before anyone. And so at times I felt like it was my calling, but I was waiting for the right moment. And there was a 2-year period which I was stricken with more pain than I had ever dealt with in my entire lifetime collectively. I had lost 3 aunts, 2 cousins, 2 best friends, my mom and my sister, all within a 2-year period. My cat died. I was in a car accident. I had kidney stones, and then I lost the love of my life. We broke up.
Oh my God.
And I was laying on the floor, literally laying on the floor, crying to God, saying, like, what are you doing to me? What is the point here? And that same voice that I had heard years ago started to ring in my ear again and said, take this pain and teach. And I thought, oh gosh, what does that mean? And I visually in my head saw a stage and me speaking, and I thought, oh boy, I must be going crazy. Well, I got myself up in that moment, and I went to a hotel, and I asked the woman, I said, do you have a room that maybe I could do a little speech in or a little talk in? And she said, sure, we have a room that has 75 people, and we have one that has 250. I said, I'll take the 75 because the least amount, better. Turns out, long story short, I called a few friends, and we had 250 people show up. We took the larger room, and in that moment, I remember you asking me a question, what was my proudest moment? I was never so nervous, but never so in tune with my soul's purpose. I felt such a peace come over me standing there. Not for the first 10 minutes, I thought I was going to pass out.
Yeah.
But after that, everything just felt in place. And I spoke between an hour and 15 minutes without stopping.
I was there.
Oh, my God.
It was amazing.
It was the greatest moment of my life. And since then, we've done 8. So these charity events in this seminar is to make people aware or help people to become more aware of spirituality, to learn through some great experiences of other speakers, and also to give back to the society and people in need. And so this year's event is called All Things Are Possible. And we have our featured speaker, which I'm extremely excited about, is William Paul Young, who wrote the movie and the book, The Shack. That book has changed my life. It was one of the most spiritually uplifting and eye-opening experience I have ever experienced. And if you haven't seen it or read it, I would suggest you do both. It's actually a movie that will actually match the book's power. So he's coming in to speak, along with some of my greatest colleagues and friends. Adam and Debbie Silber.
Yes. Love them. Love.
They're amazing.
They are. Debbie's been on the show before.
Oh,
yeah. For her
PBT
Institute in Melville. Yeah.
I love Debbie.
Oh my gosh, she just got her doctorates. I'm so proud of her. Watched her go through that, and yeah, she discovered a lot of wonderful things and giving tools for betrayal. If anyone has been betrayed, these tools will get you through this process so much faster that she's been able to identify it.
She's an amazing speaker and
Yes.
inspirational,
Yes.
motivational person. Her husband Adam is a little
Funny.
off the charts, but
Funny.
you need a
So funny
seatbelt.
last year. You need a seatbelt, and so funny. You were like, okay, you're done. And he's like, yeah, just one more. So we're going to call him Just One More. That's what I see when I see Adam. I love him.
And Lorraine Austin.
Yes.
And Gina Simone.
Gina was great too. Yeah.
We've come together to this year. We're going to be supporting the American veterans, along with Long Island Cares, which is a food pantry for Long Island homeless. And we're also giving back to the families of the military men that went down in Iraq in the helicopter crash. We're going to be surprising them with some stuff. And we're also doing it for Brookhaven Animal Shelter. For those of you who are animal lovers, we're bringing in the animals to be adopted.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so it's going to be another tear-jerking and very happy.
Killing me, Paul.
Yeah. Last year I couldn't stop crying.
I know. But it's a good thing. It's
Yes.
like it's crying and tears of joy.
Absolutely.
Tears of joy, connection. It connects at a level that you can't even imagine. You have to come. I really encourage people to come. I've gone a number of years now, and every year it just gets better and bigger. I have friends actually now who I met there. I don't mean I actually have friends, because I've had friends, whatever. That's what it sounded like. I was like, that's very funny. But I met some people at the events that we are now friends ever since because of the event. It was definitely meant to be that we saw each other and met there. And it is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I encourage everybody, is there a website that they can go to? Or
They can go on my personal website, and it's on the upcoming events, which is healingguidance.com.
healingguidance.com.
I'm sorry. Heaven's Healing Guidance.
Okay, there you go.
Heavens with an S. Healingguidance.com.
Or they can call you at 631-588-4340. I think you're on eventbrite.com,
Yes.
Long Island, or liallthingspossible.eventbrite.com. If not, you can always email me, PM me at Healthy Lifestyle, and we will make sure you get that information, because you really, really need to go. I'm not just saying that because Paul's here. I'm saying it because I really believe in it. And one of the reasons why I asked Paul to be here is to help us through in being intuitive, all the different things that you do, and give back. And I think as listeners, I know you've asked me before to speak more on the spiritual level, and you can't get more spiritual than this man right here. Firsthand, it's just amazing, and I love it. So, is it sold out yet? Because I know last year
it's getting close to be.
Okay.
It's not just yet.
Okay.
We probably by mid-October will be sold out.
Okay.
But I want everyone to know that this is an event that isn't entertainment. It's meant to inspire.
Yes.
And all of us within ourselves want to feel good. We want to feel good. Obviously, everyone wants to be happy. And these events, I've heard a number of people. In fact, I have not ever heard from one person that they didn't enjoy it. It's a display of empathy and compassion. It's embracing the greatest gift that we have, which is love. And that's, in fact, what I'm going to be speaking about, the power of love.
It is a room full of people that all feel that, and you can feel it. It really is inspiring. It inspires you to reach beyond and reach into. One of the reasons why I do Healthy Lifestyle is so I can give you, the listeners, an opportunity to hear about things that are there. You're not sure if you want to put your toe in. It gives you all the information, or some of the information, to let you reach out a little further and maybe nudge you out of your comfort zone, because I'm all about nudging people out of their comfort zones, because I know when I was nudged out of my comfort zones, amazing things happen, but I need other people to do that. So that's what Paul and I are here to do, is nudge you out of your comfort zone, get off the couch, do something different, try something different. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It only matters what you think, as long as you're developing yourself and taking all those gifts that you have and doing something with it. Like Paul, you're amazing.
Thank you.
You're just amazing.
I appreciate it.
So one inspiring thing that you can tell our listeners right now, putting you right on the spot. Love that face.
One inspiring thing. In a world that's in a strong divide right now, we're all striving for a sense of peace and happiness. Humanly, we can't comprehend what our soul has to offer. Our soul is a connection to the truth and to the pure, unconditional love that we've come from. We're constantly, as humans, trying to recreate it, to remember it, and to live it. And by embracing your spirit, by learning about spirituality, you uncover the true essence of who you are. And that's what I'm about. That's what I strive to become and to be an example of in my life. So I encourage everyone to read a book about spirituality, whatever gravitates towards you. There's no right, there's no wrong. It shows up as it's needed.
It tells you, you're right. It comes to you. All you have to do is look for it and be aware. Thank you so much, Paul, for being on today. I hope you'll come back again.
I will, 100%.
Yay. Thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle. My heart is lifted by sharing this time with you every week. I thank you so much. I'm so grateful. In the meantime, follow us and send us comments on social media at Healthy Lifestyle with LA. And remember, do something. Do a little something for yourself. Create a new habit. Create a habit. Create a new balance. Thank you so much for joining us on Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lorianne Casdia. Until next time, show up for you and show up big.